Yo, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel, and on today's episode we are bringing you my match from the IBJJF St. Louis Open. Now, they've never ever been to St. Louis before, and as a St. Louis native, of course I had to sign up and show out. Unfortunately for me, I only had one opponent, but that's okay because that means I didn't have to conserve any energy. And I just want to preface this before we get into the video that I wasn't too happy with my performance. There was a lot of mistakes that I made that I normally don't make in competition settings. I'm very much a pressure heavy, slow, methodical passer, but in this one I've been working a lot of speed passing and guard interceptions, so I wanted to showcase that, and I realized since I only had one opponent, I didn't really have to conserve any energy. So there's going to be quite a few mistakes that I make here, especially with taking the back and solidifying the position that I normally don't make in other competition settings. Again, I'm kind of trying this out to see how it slots into my game, and I figured I've been working on it for the past 4 or 5 months, and this was the perfect competition to get into it because there was only one opponent. So with all that out of the way, let's get into the video. So here we are at the start of the match. I'm going to go immediately for my cross collar and sleeve grip because I want to get straight into the collar drag and start dominating right from the beginning. So right here I get the collar drag position, but I'm not able to finish it, but I'm able to come up on a single leg and I start walking my opponent down, trying to cut that angle, but my opponent has very good single leg defense and he's able to get his own single leg, but we end up going out of bounds. But for my efforts, I'm able to get an advantage. So we're going to start right back in the middle. And again, I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going for that cross collar position and the sleeve, and my opponent is going to sit to an open guard position, but I'm able to kind of sidestep his legs before he's able to kick them out and get into a headquarters passing position with my right hand controlling his left pant leg. So here I'm going to try to go for a long step, but my opponent's able to control my right leg, preventing me from kicking it out and getting into a passing position, but that's okay because I get into a combat stance, and now I'm going to start addressing the grip that he has on my leg. So I reach under his leg, killing that De La Hiva, pulling his left hand away from my leg and giving me more freedom of movement. So here I'm going to step over the guard, and now I'm going to get into a passing position, but I'm not really doing a good job of clearing that bottom knee shield, which allows him to kind of recover the guard, but that's okay because he gets into a half guard position, and as you know, I love half guard passing. It's my favorite position to put people in to pass, so I'm just going to do what we've been doing in the series that we've been working in class. So with my right hand, I'm weaving my hand in between his legs, and with my left hand, I'm controlling the collar and using my right leg to slide over his shin, and once my right leg is free, I'm still going to control the pant grip because I want to slow his ascend into turtle position, giving me the opportunity to hit the top spin, as you can see here. Now that I've hit the top spin, I'm going to try to control the back position, and that's going to award me another advantage. So now that I'm to the back, I'm going to slow things down just a little bit, trying to secure my seatbelt grip, but my opponent is doing a very good job of preventing me from doing so. So what I'm going to start doing here is try to look for my left hand to grab his pant leg, but it's too tight on his calf because I wanted to pull him over. But in doing so, he opens up a hole for my left leg to go through, and I get a little bit greedy here, trying to get my right hook in without solidifying the back position. So he's able to bring me over the top, and right here, I don't want to stay on my back, so I use a technical stand-up, and I start controlling, but he comes up on a single leg. But now I've got the Sumi Gaeshi, which is something that I've been working with one of our teammates, Philip, who's a black belt in judo, and also Calvin, who is one of my friends who's a brown belt in judo. This is a position that I've been working extensively with both of them, so shout out to you guys with the judo skills that helped me score this 2 points off of the single leg that my opponent was trying to get me in. So now that I've scored my points on the Sumi Gaeshi reversal, I'm going to kind of make some space because I don't want to give up any points haphazardly getting swept at the edge of the mat. So I'm going to allow my opponent to stand up, but when he stands, I still grab that cross collar and sleeve position because I'm going to use that to kind of sidestep the guard. And this is what I talk about when I say don't pull guard in a straight line, because people who are fast on their feet will just sidestep around the guard. So my opponent pulls, I sidestep around the guard, get straight to the back again, and score another advantage for that position. So what I'm trying to do now is trying to secure that seatbelt grip position before I try to engage my hooks. And I kind of had a little bit of tunnel vision because I kept trying to go for the hooks without controlling the seatbelt position, but I just felt that I was so much faster than my opponent, and so I just went for it. And again, this is my only match, so I'm just going to go balls to the wall here. So my opponent stands, and I'm going to hit this takedown here by tripping out the back leg. This is a takedown that I do all the time from the back, and that's going to score me another 2 points and keep me on my opponent's back. So now I'm trying to reach up up and get a seatbelt position by controlling the lapels. My opponent does a good job of getting out of that position and getting to a turtle. And I'm going to split screen it here because the people on the right were walking in the way, but my opponent tries to go for a collar drag, and I'm able just to sidestep over the collar drag position, scoring another advantage and getting straight to the back once again. So here I'm trying to slow it down just a little bit, trying to get my foot in. My opponent does a good job of using two hands on my one foot to prevent me from getting the back. I was really trying to chase the back almost the entire time, and I was kind of losing the position from time to time by chasing the back. So here again, I don't want to play on my back at all. I decided that I didn't want to play guard not one time in this entire match, so I just decided to stay on top. So even when I fell off, I still fought to stay on top. So my opponent here is trying to play an open guard position. I'm going to stuff the leg and try to force him to play the half guard that he was playing before so I can pass it. So again, I step over the guard and I start pinning his legs, trying to force him to give up his back and expose the back so I can start getting the back once again. So again, I get another advantage for getting into the back position, and now I'm hooking my left leg as my first hook, and I'm going to try to start working a crab ride position with my right leg, hooking it under his right leg, trying to get him to turn so I can get my right leg in for the back take. He's not giving it to me. He's doing a very good job of defending here. I just take a second to look at the clock, and here I'm in a half guard position, and I'm going to kind of not put a lot of pressure on my opponent. This is not something that I normally do in competition, and he's able to turn into a half guard here, but I'm going to do the exact same thing that I was doing before. I'm going to weave my left hand in between his legs and start trying to control his head or lapels with my right hand. So my opponent knows exactly what I'm trying to go for, and he's trying to intercept my right hand before I can get the collar. So what I'm trying to do is be proactive in keeping it away until I'm able to get it. So when he tries to go for his underhook in the half guard, that's when I'm able to grab the collar, and now I've got my knee weave and the collar position, and this is just the passing position that was earlier in the video, just on the opposite side. My opponent is trying to play a high knee shield position, so what I'm going to do is just get up on my feet, trap his left leg with my knees, step over his right leg, and try to force him into a turtle position so again I can attack the back. My opponent is not going to go for it, so I try to kind of speed pass to the opposite side, but my opponent is able to read that and get into a half guard position. But as you can see, now I've got him in a flattened half guard position. As a guard passer, this is the exact position I love to pass from, where I use my right hand to control my opponent's pant leg, keeping him flat on the mat, keeping his face turned away and his spine out of alignment. I take a second to look at the clock, see how much time I have, and see how much points I'm up on, and now it's just a matter of time before I push his left leg down with my right hand and step my right leg out of the position. And this is probably the only time in the entire match where I'm putting extensive pressure on my opponent for a long period of time. Again, I was working a lot of speed passing and guard interceptions, but this is a perfect position for me to pass almost at will, because once my opponent opens up his legs, I'm going to be able to shoot my right leg over his guard and pass, scoring my 3 points. As soon as the ref gives me the 3 points, I'm going to check the scoreboard to make sure that I'm up, and now I can see that I have 7 points and 7 advantages, and now I can start to slow things down because my opponent is no longer giving the resistance that he was giving earlier in the match. So here I just cook the position. There's no need to rush into any other type of position. I'm just going to keep my weight and pressure heavy on my opponent, and then I transition into the side control, taking my left hand across his face and trying to put cross face pressure on my opponent, keeping my knees wide so he can no longer bring his right knee inside to recover the half guard or a knee shield position. And again, I don't really need to do much here because I've already scored my points. I just need to control the position and make sure that I don't make any mistakes and get submitted. So here I start to feed out my opponent's left lapel, and again, this is a position that I love to play, where I take the lapel and feed it over my opponent's hand and trap the hand there, and that leads to a bunch of neon belly positions, mounted triangles, and I just want to control and make sure that hand is out of the fight. My opponent starts to bring his right leg back inside, and again, now I can just take my time and just cook him in this position. I try to start getting a little bit fancy here and a little bit overzealous, and I lose the position. My opponent tries to roll through and go for a toe hold, but I'm able to recover that position and control him, and that's going to be the end of the match. So ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the video. The major takeaway here is that I needed to slow down in the positions. I had 7 advantages for getting to the back, and I didn't capitalize on the back not one time. Again, I was playing this speed passing and guard interception position, and I only had one match, so I didn't really need to conserve energy. I kind of wanted to push the pace and then see if I I could keep it up for a 6-minute match, and I was able to do so. My opponent also didn't really give me the speed. He didn't match my speed, so I didn't really have to worry. But again, that's not an excuse for not solidifying dominant positions, like almost getting the back with one hook. So that's a takeaway that I'm trying to work. I'm going to see if this game slots into my overall pressure heavy game, and we'll, you know, revamp this in the gym and bring it back for another competition. That is the end of the video. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you guys for supporting the channel. It truly means more than you know. I've got more IBJJF World content to break down, other people's breakdowns from the St. Louis Open whenever they send me some videos. And yeah, I'm just trying to make as much content for the channel and keep you guys entertained. So that is all I have. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.